Hi guys, welcome back to another FBI Club meeting. I hope you all had an awesome holiday and an epic new year. I slept. And then one of my neighbors launched a firework at my house, so that was cool. Thank God it was raining. Didn't set my house on fire. Did you set any goals for the new year? I know I have a lot of things I would like to focus on and be better at myself. The person I want to be and the person I envision as my future self is not the person I am right now. So my whole goal next year is just to take one step, change one thing a day or whatever every day for the next year just to get closer to that goal, and maybe I'll be 25% closer to that goal by the end of the year, and then I'll just do it again next year and the next year until I get to my goal that I envision. That's what I've decided I'm doing this year. Who knows? Might go to total crap. I don't know. Anyways, my dad and I were huge movie buffs, so technically my whole family is huge movie buffs. Sometimes when we start talking, we literally just start talking in movie quotes. It cracks us up. It's a good time. But my dad said he had a fun idea for me for one of my deep dive videos. Marky Mark. Or Mark Wahlberg, whatever you want to call him. Marky Mark's more fun to say. I don't know. But I was like, yes. That dude's got a rap sheet. We could totally dive into that. Mark Wahlberg has been trying the last 20 years to sell himself as Hollywood's tough guy Catholic family man. But before his movies, Wahlburgers, and his 4 a.m. workouts, which I think are accompanied by a dose of something else, there's a rap sheet in Hollywood that nobody likes to bring up, which is good for Mark because, boy howdy, it's not a fun list.
I didn't know that Marky Mark was Mark Wahlberg.
You guys are so young. Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch? Oh my god.
Hey, yo, what's up? This is me, Marky Mark.
People chalk up Marky Mark's early life as a troubled kid, but really it was the whole environment around him and the time. Mark was born June 5th, 1971, and grew up in Dorchester, Massachusetts. He was the youngest of 9 children, and by the time he was 11, his parents had divorced. Money was tight, attention was stretched thin, and by 13 he had already dropped out of school. Now, during the 80s in Dorchester, it was full of working class families experiencing a major demographic shift, with areas like Blue Hill Avenue becoming predominantly black alongside Irish and Italian communities. There were large immigrant populations, particularly from Vietnam and Cape Verde, that moved into Dorchester as well. Along with all the people moving in, so did the drugs, then of course territories and gangs were formed. Mark was not immune to his surroundings. After dropping out of school, he ended up on the streets, dealing drugs, constantly in street fights, mainly targeting minority groups, and heavy substance use himself. Before the famous assaults that everyone usually knows about, there's an earlier attack that hardly ever gets mentioned. In 1986, a 15-year-old Mark Wahlberg and his friends were involved in a racially motivated incident in Boston where they chased the kids down the street, threw rocks, and yelled racial slurs at a group of mostly black 4th grade students on a field trip. How lame. You have to be 15 years old and picking on 4th graders. And an ambulance driver is who eventually intervened in that situation. The next time they were like, we're going on a field trip. I'd be like, nah, I'm good. I'll sit this one out. But get this. I don't know why I'm laughing. Get this. Mark and his friends got so freaking lucky. They were not criminally convicted for this specific event, but they were issued a civil rights injunction, which served as a formal warning that further hate crimes would result in jail time. So just a little slap on the wrist, you know? No. It's just wild, because how would that case be charged today? I don't know. Our justice system is so whack, so it's who even knows? Probably get a slap on the wrist again. I don't even know anymore. The civil rights injunction didn't really stop him though. In 1988, Mark Wahlberg was involved in an assault on 2 Vietnamese American men in Boston. Court documents and police records indicate that Wahlberg, who was 16 at the time, claimed he was high on PCP during the incident. That's wild. Who's doing who's... No, we don't do that. Wahlberg approached a man named Dan Lamb who was carrying 2 cases of beer outside a convenience store. Wahlberg struck Lamb over the head with a 5-foot-long wooden stick, knocking him unconscious and breaking the stick. While running from the scene, Wahlberg encountered another Vietnamese man, Ho Johnny Trin, and asked for help hiding from the police. After a police cruiser passed, Wahlberg got up and punched Trin in the frickin' eye and left. The crap is that? He just helped you out, bro. Then, to add salt to the wounds, according to police records, Wahlberg made several... I'm not laughing. Wahlberg made several unsolicited racial remarks about and slanted eye both during and after the attack. What a freaking day for those guys, you know? All because Marky Mark wanted to do some PCP. Jerk off. Wahlberg was arrested and charged with attempted murder, but ultimately pled guilty to 2 counts of assault and battery. He was sentenced to 2 years and only had to serve 45 days in Deer Island House of Correction. They had reported, to make like the case seem worse, they had reported that Mark Wahlberg had punched the guy's eye out, Trin's eyes out, or eye out, and later Trin had actually came out and said that he lost it in the Vietnam War and that Mark Wahlberg did not in fact take his eye. So that is a misconception that does like to get pushed about that case. But critics like to point out that this detail is to like soften the blow of the story. Following his release, his older brother Donnie from New Kids on the Block helped him launch a music career. He formed the group Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch and released an album called Music for the People, featuring the popular song Good Vibrations. Have you watched that music video lately? It's not the greatest music video. But I guess it was the times, you know? I feel like we could have just given that song to like Vanilla Ice or something and just called it a day on Marky Mark and not even started that. You know what I mean? Like that could have been a Vanilla Ice song, but we did. So we're here now. Then boom, suddenly he's shirtless in an ad with Kate Moss posing for Calvin Klein, played the Lee Eddie Adams Dirk Diggler in Boogie Nights. This role earned him significant critical praise and put him on the map as a serious actor. He becomes a sex symbol, and now the public sees him as troubled teen turned good Catholic man. The industry silenced any mentions of his victims or hate crimes in the past, and that's how history got buried under abs and a redemption arc. But even after the rebrand, the quiet patterns of arrogance still showed up. In 2012, Mark Wahlberg was allegedly scheduled to be on the American Airlines flight from Boston to Los Angeles that crashed into the World Trade Center. He told Men's Journal, "If I was on the plane with my kids, it wouldn't have went down like it did. There would have been a lot of blood in that first class cabin and then me saying, okay, we're going to land somewhere safely, don't worry." Public backlash was immediate. This is not one of your movies, Wahlberg, Marky Mark. Okay. Families of 9/11 victims were quick to express their disgust for him, leading Wahlberg to apologize and saying in a statement, "To speculate about such a situation is ridiculous to begin with, and to suggest I would have done anything differently than the passengers on that plane was irresponsible. I deeply apologize to the families of the victims that my answers came off as insensitive. It was certainly not my intention." Well, that's awkward. That's like some dumb drunk comment you say with your friends because your ego took hold of you. You know what I mean? That's not something you say out loud in an interview. Then there's All the Money in the World reshoot scandal he pulled. Not a good look either. This involved a massive pay gap where co-star Mark Wahlberg reportedly earned $1.5 million for reshoots, while lead actress Michelle Williams received less than $1,000, sparking outrage over gender inequality. It didn't help at all that this happened after Kevin Spacey was replaced due to sexual misconduct allegations. Wahlberg allegedly used a contract clause to demand extra pay, even vetoing Christopher Plummer's casting until his demands were met. While Michelle, who agreed to shoot on Thanksgiving, was only paid her daily per diem around $80. In response, Marky Mark donated his $1.5 million fee to the Time's Up Legal Defense Fund, honoring Michelle Williams. So yeah, he's a little greedy. In August of 1992, Mark Wahlberg was involved in an altercation where he and another man, Derek McCall, allegedly attacked Mark Wahlberg's neighbor, Robert Crehan. According to the court documents, Wahlberg viciously and repeatedly kicked Crehan in the face while McCall held the victim to the ground. The attack left the neighbor with a fractured jaw. Wahlberg's attorney claimed that they were provoked by Crehan because he was using racial slurs against McCall, who is black. The case didn't go to criminal trial though. It ended up being settled outside of court. So he got lucky on that. Remember when he did the Calvin Klein ad with Kate Moss? At the time in 1992, Moss was 17 while Wahlberg was 21. Moss described the shoots as traumatic, feeling vulnerable and intimidated by Wahlberg, who she called a dickhead at the time. He was very macho and it was all about him. He had a big entourage. I was just this kind of model. Mark did address the photo shoot controversy while speaking to The Guardian in 2020. The outlet asked Mark Wahlberg if he ever made up with the model after their shoot, to which Wahlberg replied, "I never really had a problem with Kate, did I?" He added, "I think I was probably a little rough around the edges, kind of doing my thing. I wasn't very worldly, let's say that, but I've seen her and said hello. I think we saw each other at a concert here and there. We said hi and exchanged pleasantries." So I guess they've moved on from that moment. I don't know. You like the movie Boogie Nights? I don't really care for that movie. The storyline is like, whatever. But there are so many damn good actors in that movie. Oh my god, the lineup for that movie is insane. You got Philip Seymour Hoffman, John C. Reilly. You got the one dude from Mystery Men. I can't remember his name, but that's what I always remember him from. And then you got Julianne Moore. Who else you got in there? There's so many good actors in that dang movie. Don Cheadle. Yeah. The fashion. The soundtrack. The soundtrack's so good. Oh my god. Well, anyways. Mark Wahlberg has expressed regret over doing that movie. He is now saying his deep Catholic faith makes him uncomfortable with the film's portrayal of the porn industry, especially when explaining it to his children. Yeah, I bet that would be awkward. Despite his reservations, he acknowledges Boogie Nights is what launched him into stardom and is what elevated him from Marky Mark to being an actor. I think that's fair. You grow and you get over certain things, so I don't know. I don't see anything wrong with that. Oh, did you know Leonardo DiCaprio was actually offered the role of Eddie Adams, Dirk Diggler in Boogie Nights, but he was already doing Titanic? How crazy different would that movie be? Leo did say this: "My biggest regret is not doing Boogie Nights. It was a profound movie of my generation," DiCaprio said. "I can't imagine anyone but Mark Wahlberg in it. When I finally got to see that movie, I just thought it was a masterpiece." Kinda masterpiece, you know? It almost made it. So yeah, the controversies didn't stop, they just changed form. And here's where he tried to erase history completely. In 2014, Mark Wahlberg sought a full pardon from Massachusetts for the 1988 assaults committed as a teenager. He claimed he was remorseful, rehabilitated, and needed it for business reasons. You know what business reasons? A liquor license for Wahlburgers. How did the public react? They lost it. Civil rights groups objected. The request sparked debate, with critics pointing out the disparity between Mark Wahlberg's path to redemption and the experience of others, especially black men, facing harsher penalties for similar or lesser offenses. Kristen Atwood, one of the fourth graders Mark threw rocks at, reached out to sources expressing her disbelief in his request, stating, "I don't think he should get a pardon. I don't really care who he is. It doesn't make him any exception. If you're a racist, you're always going to be a racist, and for him to want to erase it, I just think it's wrong." Victims said that they don't believe he fully acknowledged the racial motives behind it. But then you have good old Johnny Trin, who met with Mark Wahlberg, sat down and talked about their experience. Johnny Trin, the Vietnamese man that was attacked by Mark Wahlberg in 1988, was actually in favor of his pardon, saying that he deserves a second chance at life. I think he got a second chance at life. I don't think anything held him back. I do find that really sweet of him, though. Very mature of him to move on from that. Just good for him. Good for Johnny. Good guy. Mark Wahlberg ended up dropping his pardon request in September of 2016. The Massachusetts Parole Board actually closed the case because Mark Wahlberg wouldn't respond to their letters, so they shut it down. They closed it. He came out later saying he regretted even applying for it. It literally just reminds me of Superbad when when Jonah Hill's like making fun of Dave Franco and he's like, "Why don't you go piss your pants or something?" And he's like, "Dude, that was 7 years ago." And he's like, "People don't forget." What do you think was gonna happen, Mark Wahlberg? People don't forget. Anyways. Do you think he should have gotten a full pardon? I don't. I think that's insane. Violent crimes? No, I don't think he should give pardons on violent crimes like that. I don't care if you were freaking underage or a teenager or whatever. No. Also, so you can go get a liquor license? I don't think so. Do you know how many people you'd have to pardon? No. Those were like the major ones that pop up. I like dove real deep into them, and I found like stupid little ones too that are just honorable mentions, I guess. So here are some honorable mentions of other Mark Wahlberg controversies. In 2019, after announcing his MMA retirement, Conor McGregor tweeted he'd challenge Hollywood actress Mark Wahlberg to a fight for his UFC shares, demanding partnership rather than just payment. Mark Wahlberg is a known part owner of the UFC, and McGregor sought an equity stake, but was rebuffed by UFC president Dana White, leading to the challenge. McGregor then threatened to smack him and his four brothers around in reference to the movie Four Brothers, a clear taunt for publicity. Nothing ever happened from that. I just found it funny. He called him an actress. It's so dumb. There was an F-45 debacle. Mark Wahlberg was a major investor and brand ambassador. It's a fitness franchise, if you haven't heard of it, because I haven't heard of it. I just learned about it. They faced financial difficulties leading to lawsuits, including one from David Beckham, so random, alleging F-45 and by extension Mark Wahlberg's involvement failed to deliver promised valuable stock, costing him millions. That sucks. I don't think the absence of a liquor license is slowing him down any. You know what I mean? Which you need that pardon for. Anyways, that's the part of Mark Wahlberg's trailer that never makes it into the movie. He really put his PR team to work right out of the gate. My gosh. My outlet just tried to kill me. I don't know. I gotta hurry up and film this because my battery's gonna die. How do you feel about Mark Wahlberg? I honestly don't really think he's that good of an actor. I can only watch him in a couple movies. You know, like Ted, the other guys. And that scene in Date Night with Tina Fey. He's funny. I just don't take him seriously. I don't know. His acting. He's lucky he got that Calvin Klein ad. You know what I mean? That like really freaking... And then Boogie Nights. Otherwise, I don't know. I feel like Mark Wahlberg's had a really good life. He's just been coasting by, chilling. Would you have approved his pardon? Let me know in the comments down below. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.
And the actor goes to Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.